Welcome, deep divers. Today, we're jumping back, way back, over 2,000 years actually,
You are indeed.
to a text that still, massively influences strategy today, Sun Tzu's The Art of War.
A classic for a reason.
We're using the Lionel Giles translation, the one from 1910, often called the oldest military treatise in the world.
That's the one. Still incredibly relevant.
And our mission really is to dig into that timeless wisdom, not just battle tactics, but like how its ideas apply to your modern world, your career, big projects, even just tricky simulations.
Absolutely. I think people are often surprised. It's lasted because, well, it's less about ancient warfare specifics and more about fundamental truths. Human nature, planning, foresight, especially when you're facing any kind of competition or challenge.
It avoids the obvious sometimes, doesn't it?
It really does. The depth comes from emphasizing how to win without the big confrontation through better planning, understanding all the angles.
Okay, let's get into it then. Sun Tzu starts right off, not with like how to fight, but with laying plans. What are the absolute must-haves he says a leader needs to think about before anything else happens?
Right. He lays out these 5 constant factors, foundational stuff. And interestingly, the first one isn't logistics, it's the moral law.
Moral law, meaning
It's about the people being totally aligned with their leader, willing to follow them into danger, basically. Unity, shared purpose, it's huge.
okay, so unity first. What else?
Then you get the environmental factors, heaven, that's things like night and day, weather, seasons, and earth, the actual ground. Distances, danger, open ground, narrow passes, that sort of thing.
Makes sense. Know your environment.
Exactly. Then, number 4 is the commander, their character. Are they wise, sincere, benevolent, courageous, strict? It's about the leader's virtues.
Okay.
And finally, number 5 is method and discipline. This is where the organization comes in. Ranks, supply lines, managing the costs. It's a very holistic view, isn't it? Starts with spirit and leadership, then gets into the practical stuff.
Yeah, it really is. And he really stresses calculation before action. Says the winning general calculates a lot, the losing one, not so much. What's the real cost if you skimp on that calculation? It's more than just losing, right?
Oh, the cost is massive. He gets really specific in the next chapter, chapter 2. Talks about needing 1,000 ounces of silver per day just to keep an army of 100,000 going.
Wow.
Yeah, and it's not just money. It's morale, dull weapons, exhausted troops, empty treasuries. He's crystal clear. No instance of a country having benefited from prolonged warfare, ever.
So efficiency is paramount. Get it done quick, or maybe don't do it at all.
Precisely. If victory isn't efficient and pretty certain, rethink it. It's about resource protection as much as anything else. Don't just burn through everything you have.
Which brings us to something really interesting he talks about. Supreme excellence. This isn't just about winning fights. Is it? It feels different.
It completely flips the script on winning. Supreme excellence for Sun Tzu is breaking the enemy's resistance without fighting.
Without fighting at all. How?
Well, the ideal is to take their country whole and intact. Avoid sieges, avoid destruction. He even gives a hierarchy. Best thing, foil their plans before they even start.
Yeah.
Next best, prevent their forces from joining up. Then, attack their army in the field. And the absolute worst option, the last resort, is besieging walled cities.
Why so bad?
He says it's just disastrous.
Yeah.
Costs you 1/3 of your men, potentially for nothing. It's incredibly inefficient and destructive. He also lists these 5 essentials for victory: knowing when to fight, how to handle different force sizes, army spirit, being prepared, and importantly, the general needing freedom from the ruler meddling.
So for you listening, the big takeaway here is maybe. The smartest win is engineered way before the clash. It's that pre-game brilliance, whether it's business, career, whatever.
Couldn't say it better. And it all builds up to that incredibly famous line from chapter 3. If you know the enemy and know yourself, you need not fear the result of 100 battles. That's the bedrock. Self-awareness and understanding your opponent. Timeless.
Okay, so we've got planning, strategic restraint. But then Sun Tzu shifts gears. He talks about making yourself unbeatable first. The good fighter puts themselves beyond the possibility of defeat. How's that done? What's the thinking there on offense versus defense?
Yeah, this is a really subtle but crucial point. He says securing yourself against defeat. That's in your hands. You control your defense, your preparations.
Okay, makes sense.
But the chance to actually defeat the enemy, that's provided by the enemy. They make a mistake, they expose a weakness.
So you make yourself solid, then wait for them to slip up.
Exactly. You don't force it.
Yeah.
You win by making no mistakes yourself, and then you exploit their errors. It's like conquering an enemy that's already defeated because they created the opening through their own flaws.
Then he gets into this idea of energy
Mhm.
and using direct versus indirect methods. He uses metaphors like music notes and colors. What's he getting at?
It's such a brilliant analogy, isn't it? He's saying, look, the direct approach, like a frontal attack, has its place, but it's the indirect methods, feints, flanking, surprises, that are truly inexhaustible.
Like music notes.
Right. Only 5 basic notes, 5 primary colors, 5 main tastes, but combine them. Infinite variety. Same in conflict. Just 2 basic methods, direct and indirect, but used together. Endless series of maneuvers.
So creativity and unpredictability are key.
Absolutely.
Yeah.
And perception management. He talks about
Mhm.
simulated disorder, actually requiring perfect discipline underneath,
Look,
making weakness look like strength or strength look like weakness, controlling what the enemy thinks they see,
deception.
total deception, and using combined energy, getting the whole force moving together like rolling logs or stones downhill. It's about the momentum of the group, not just individual skill.
It sounds like you need to be fluid, hard to pin down, like water.
Exactly like water. That's another of his famous analogies from chapter 6. Military tactics are like unto water. Water avoids the high ground, seeks the low. So in war, avoid what is strong and strike at what is weak.
Adapt to the landscape.
And adapt to the opponent. He stresses, in warfare, there are no constant conditions. You have to change your tactics based on who you're facing and the situation. It's all about dynamic adaptation.
Which is so relevant today, right? Think about navigating a competitive job market or launching a product. You don't just charge straight ahead. You adapt, find the weaknesses, manage perceptions.
Precisely. That flexibility, that strategic use of how you're perceived, it's gold in almost any competitive field.
Okay, so tactics are key, but Sun Tzu also digs deep into the leader's character and their understanding of the actual environment. What does he say about leadership and knowing the ground?
He gets very practical in chapter 7, maneuvering. He warns about the dangers of pushing too hard too fast just to gain a small edge,
Yeah.
like marching 100, maybe 30 miles for an advantage. He says you could lose all your leaders and only get a tenth of your army there.
So rushing can backfire badly.
Hugely. Even a 50-line march might cost you half your force. He emphasizes logistics. The baggage train, food, supply bases. Without them, the army is lost. And the leader must know the terrain intimately, mountains, forests, marshes, everything. And crucially, use local guides.
Don't guess, get local knowledge.
Never guess. Turn the ground to your advantage.
He's also pretty blunt about what makes a bad general. What are these dangerous faults he warns about?
Oh yeah, no punches pulled there. Chapter 8 lists 5. First, recklessness. Just charging in leads to destruction. Second, cowardice leads to getting captured.
Yeah.
Third, a hasty temper, easily provoked, makes bad decisions. Fourth, a delicacy of honor, too sensitive to shame or criticism, can't handle setbacks. And fifth, over-solicitude for his men. Sounds good, but he says it leads to worry and trouble. Paralysis, maybe.
That last one's counterintuitive.
It is, but he sees it as a weakness that can be exploited. These 5, he calls them besetting sins, can wreck an army. You see echoes today, right? Leaders rushing, leaders who can't take criticism.
Definitely. And then there's the terrain itself. He seems to have a plan for every kind of landscape almost.
Yeah.
And reading enemy signs.
Absolutely. It's not just about knowing types of terrain, but how to act on them. Chapter 9 talks about basics like camping high and sunny, avoiding uphill fights, crossing marshes fast. But then he gives this amazing list of signs to read the enemy,
Like what?
like dust high and pointy, chariots coming, dust low and spread out, infantry, birds suddenly flying up, ambush below, animals startled, surprise attack coming.
Wow, like a detective.
Totally.
Yeah.
Humble words before the advance might mean they're preparing something big. Angry words before they pull back could be a feint. Soldiers leaning on their steers, they're hungry. It's incredible detail.
And the different ground types.
Yeah, he lists 6 kinds of terrain in one chapter, 9 varieties of ground in another, like accessible, entangling, desperate, and for each, specific advice. On desperate ground, fight. Makes sense, nothing to lose. On dispersive ground like near home, fight not, because men want to go home. On hemmed-in ground, resort to stratagem. Find a clever way out,
So it's always about context.
always. And linking that to how you treat your soldiers. Use humanity, he says, but enforce it with iron discipline. That balance is the certain road to victory. The general needs to be quiet, secret, upright, just. Even keep his own troops guessing sometimes to maintain control.
So for you listening, study the context, know your team, know yourself, know your opponent. It's all interconnected, which leads us perfectly into what feels like maybe his most radical idea, especially for that time, Foreknowledge, information. How do you get it, and why is it just so critical?
Yeah, he really elevates intelligence. He says in chapter 13, look, armies can stare each other down for years, but the whole thing is decided in one day. To not know the enemy's situation before that day, just because you don't want to spend the money on finding out, he calls that the height of inhumanity.
Strong words.
Very. Because that foreknowledge lets leaders do things beyond the reach of ordinary men. And here's the kicker. You don't get it from spirits or prayers or complex calculations based on past events.
No. How then?
He's explicit. It can only be obtained from other men. Human intelligence. That's the source.
Okay, and then he gets really specific about how to get it. He breaks down spies into 5 different types. Who are they? How do they work?
It's fascinating. 5 classes. First, local spies.
Hmm.
Just using the local people in the area. Second, inward spies. Getting officials on the enemy side to work for you.
Okay, insiders.
Right. Third, converted spies.
Yeah.
Capturing enemy spies and turning them, making them double agents. Fourth, doomed spies. These are your own spies you deliberately give false information to, knowing they'll be caught and mislead the enemy.
Wow, ruthless.
Very. And fifth, surviving spies.
Yeah.
The ones who actually get into the enemy camp, get the real info, and make it back.
And is one type more important than others?
Yes, he highlights the converted spy. They're absolutely pivotal because they often have the initial knowledge you need to recruit the local and inward spies, and they know how the enemy's intelligence system works. You need them to make the whole system function.
And managing these spies.
Requires real skill, intuitive sagacity, he calls it, benevolence, straightforwardness, but also absolute secrecy. And you have to pay them well.
Mhm.
Liberal rewards are essential.
So it's way beyond just collecting facts. It's this intricate web of human management psychology. He calls it a divine manipulation of the threads.
That's the phrase. When all 5 types are working and nobody can figure out your system, that's the divine manipulation. It's the leader's ultimate tool. And he ends the core of his argument really by saying spies are a most important element because on them depends an army's ability to move.
Intelligence drives everything.
It's the engine, which in our world, absolutely drowning in information but often starved of real wisdom, is maybe more relevant than ever. Knowing how to find the truth, get good intel, protect your own information. That's the edge. Hashtag tag outro.
Wow. What a journey through the art of war. We've touched on so much: planning, costs, the art of not fighting, deception, adapting leadership, knowing the ground, and finally, the absolute power of intelligence.
It really covers the spectrum of strategic thinking. And the core message, I think, isn't just about war. It's about understanding conflict, competition, dynamics, and how much relies on knowing yourself and knowing the situation, the enemy, the challenge. True strength, as Sun Tzu shows, is often in that unseen preparation, that calculated restraint.
Yeah, that pre-victory idea you mentioned. Winning before the fight even starts.
Outthinking, out-preparing, making your position so strong the battle is almost a foregone conclusion.
So, what does this mean for you? If Sun Tzu's right that all warfare is based on deception and ultimate victory comes from making no mistakes, what's that really say about success today, in your work, your life? How much of your next win could actually be secured before the main event even kicks off? How might thinking like that change your approach?
Definitely something to mull over as you navigate your own strategic landscapes.